The Deep Space Survey ship Vigilant moved slowly through the darkness of space. Its crew was tired but alert, watching the screens for anything unusual. They had been searching this empty part of the galaxy for weeks, hoping to find something new. Most days, they only saw rocks, dust, and the cold light of distant stars. But tonight was different. Lieutenant Sarah Kim sat at her station, her eyes fixed on the radar. Suddenly, a strange shape appeared on her screen. It was huge, much bigger than any ship she had ever seen. She called out to the captain, her voice shaking. "Captain, you need to see this. There's something out there." Captain Marcus Reed walked over, frowning. He looked at the screen and saw the dark outline. It was not moving, just floating in space. The ship was shaped like a giant spear, with sharp edges and strange markings along its sides. It did not match any design in their database. The crew stared at the image, feeling a cold fear in their hearts. "Is it a ship?" asked Ensign Patel, his voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know," Captain Reed replied, "but it's not like anything we've ever seen." The Vigilant moved closer, its lights shining on the mysterious object. The hull of the strange ship was black and smooth, almost invisible against the darkness. It was covered in scars and burns, as if it had survived many battles. There were no windows, no signs of life, and no signals coming from it. It was silent and still, like a ghost. The crew sent out a message to Earth reporting their discovery. They described the ship and sent pictures. Back on Earth, scientists and military leaders watched the images in shock. No one knew where the ship had come from or who had built it. Some thought it was a lost human ship, but others believed it was something much older, maybe even alien. As the Vigilant circled the strange ship, their sensors picked up a faint energy signal. It was weak, but it was there. The crew grew nervous. Was the ship alive? Was it dangerous? Captain Reed ordered everyone to be ready for anything. Suddenly, alarms blared. The energy signal grew stronger, and lights flickered along the ship's hull. The crew watched in horror as a large section of the ship began to move. Panels slid open, revealing rows of strange weapons. The ship was waking up. "Back away," Captain Reed shouted. The Vigilant tried to move, but it was too late. A bright light flashed from the strange ship, and a huge explosion tore through space. The blast hit a nearby asteroid, shattering it into pieces. The shockwave rocked the Vigilant, throwing the crew from their seats. Sparks flew, and warning lights flashed all over the control room. "Damage report," the captain yelled. "We've lost shields," shouted Ensign Patel. "Engines are offline." The crew struggled to regain control. Outside, the strange ship's weapons glowed with deadly energy. It was clear, now this was a warship. It was ready for battle. The Vigilant sent out a final message to Earth. "This is the Vigilant. We have found a massive warship in deep space. It is armed and dangerous. We are under attack. Repeat, we are under attack." The message ended with a burst of static. On Earth, the people who heard it felt a chill run down their spines. The fate of the Vigilant was unknown. The warship's true purpose was a mystery. Was it a lost weapon from an ancient war? Was it sent by an alien race? Or was it something even worse? As the Vigilant drifted helplessly, the warship turned its weapons toward them. The crew braced for the end. But then, just as suddenly as it had started, the warship went silent. Again, its weapons powered down, and the lights faded. The ship floated quietly, as if nothing had happened. The crew of the Vigilant was shaken, but alive. They watched the warship, afraid to move. No one spoke. The silence was heavy, filled with fear and questions. What had they found? Why had the warship attacked and then stopped? Was it testing them? Or was it waiting for something? Captain Reed made a decision. "We need to get out of here. We need to warn Earth." The crew worked quickly, repairing the engines as best they could. Every moment felt like an eternity. They kept their eyes on the warship, afraid it would attack again. But the ship remained still, like a sleeping giant. Finally, the Vigilant-S engines came back online. The ship turned and sped away, leaving the warship behind. As they left, Sarah Kim looked back at the dark shape in the distance. She felt a sense of dread. She knew this was only the beginning. Back on Earth, the news spread quickly. An unstoppable space warship had been spotted in deep space for the first time. No one knew what it wanted or where it had come from. But everyone knew one thing: the universe had just become a much more dangerous place. The mystery of the warship hung over humanity like a shadow. Was it a warning, a weapon, or something even more terrifying? No one had answers. But everyone was afraid of what would happen next. And far out in the darkness, the warship waited. Silent and unstoppable, its secrets hidden deep inside. The story of the Vigilant was just the beginning. Real danger was still to come. The message from the Vigilant reached Earth like a thunderbolt. In the great halls of United Earth Command, leaders and scientists gathered quickly. The news was clear. A giant, unstoppable warship was out there in deep space. It was armed, dangerous, and a complete mystery. No one knew if it was friend or foe, but everyone agreed it could not be ignored. Admiral Helen Carter stood at the front of the room, her face serious. "We must act fast," she said. "We cannot let this warship threaten Earth or our colonies. We will send our best fleet to investigate and, if needed, to fight." The fleet was led by the flagship Resolute, the pride of Earth's Navy. The Resolute was big, strong, and filled with the latest weapons and shields. Alongside it were 5 other warships, each ready for battle. The crews were brave, but many felt nervous. They had seen the pictures from the Vigilant, the enemy. It was like nothing they had ever faced, as the fleet left Earth. Families and friends watched from the ground, hoping for their safe return. The ships moved quickly through space, their engines glowing blue. Inside the Resolute, Captain James Walker gave his crew a speech. "We do not know what we will find," he said. "But we must protect our people. We must be ready for anything." After days of travel, the fleet reached the last known location of the Vigilant. The area was quiet and dark. Pieces of the Vigilant floated in space, broken and burned. There was no sign of life. The crew felt a deep sadness for the lost ship and its brave people. Suddenly, the sensors picked up something huge. The warship was still there, floating in the darkness. It looked even bigger up close. Its black hull seemed to swallow all light. Strange symbols glowed along its sides. The fleet kept a safe distance. Watching and waiting, Captain Walker sent a message to the warship. "This is Captain Walker of the United Earth Command. Identify yourself. Become in peace." There was no answer. The warship did not move. It was silent, like a sleeping monster. The fleet circled the warship, scanning it with every tool they had. The scientists on board tried to understand its design. "It's not human," said Dr. Lin, the chief scientist. "The metal is unknown. The energy readings are off the charts. This ship is far beyond our technology." Suddenly alarms blared. The warship's weapons powered up, glowing with deadly light. Without warning, it fired a barrage of energy bombs. 2 of the escort ships were hit. They exploded in bright fireballs, sending debris flying in all directions. The shockwaves shook the Resolute and the other ships. "Shields up! Return fire!" Captain Walker shouted. The fleet fired back with missiles and lasers, their warships. Shields flashed, but the attacks did little damage. The enemy ship was too strong. Its weapons fired again, hitting another ship. The crew watched in horror as their friends were lost in a burst of flames. "We can't win like this," said Commander Ortiz. "We need to know more about that ship." Captain Walker agreed. He called for a boarding party. "We need to get inside and find out what we're dealing with. Maybe we can find a weakness." A small team of soldiers and scientists prepared to board the warship. They wore heavy armor and carried special tools. Their shuttle moved slowly toward the enemy ship, dodging debris and energy blasts. The rest of the fleet tried to distract the warship, drawing its fire away from the shuttle. The boarding party reached the warship and found a small opening. They entered, their lights shining into the darkness. Inside, the ship was cold and silent. The walls were made of strange metal, covered in alien writing. The team moved carefully, afraid of traps. As they explored, the corridor seemed to shift and change. Doors opened and closed by themselves. The team felt like they were being watched. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed through the ship. The doors slammed shut, trapping the team inside. Back outside, the warship turned its weapons on the Resolute. The flagship's shields held, but only just. The crew worked quickly, trying to keep the ship safe. "We can't hold out much longer," said the chief engineer. "The shields are failing." Inside the warship, the boarding party found a strange room filled with glowing screens. The screens showed images of distant galaxies and strange symbols. In the center of the room was a large control panel. Dr. Lin tried to read the symbols, hoping to find a way to stop the ship. Suddenly, the ship's defenses activated. Small flying machines appeared, shooting at the team. The soldiers fired back, trying to protect the scientists. Sparks flew in the air filled with smoke. The team fought bravely, but they were outnumbered. "We need to get out of here," shouted Sergeant Miller. But the doors were locked tight. The team was trapped, fighting for their lives. Back on the Resolute, Captain Walker watched the battle on his screens. He knew the fleet could not survive much longer. "Prepare for emergency jump," he ordered. But just as the ship was about to escape, the warship fired a massive energy beam. The Resolute shook violently, alarms blaring. The fate of the fleet and the boarding party was uncertain. The warship was too strong, too mysterious. As the battle raged on, everyone knew the stakes were higher than ever. If the warship reached Earth, nothing could stop it. The story was far from over. The warship's secrets were still hidden deep inside. The crew of the Resolute and the brave boarding party were humanity's only hope. But time was running out, and the enemy was unstoppable. The battle in deep space grew more dangerous with every second. Human fleet, led by the Resolute, was fighting for its life. The alien warship was huge and powerful, and its weapons were unlike anything the humans had ever seen. The black hull of the enemy ship glowed with strange lights. Its shields seemed impossible to break. Inside the Resolute, Captain Walker gave orders quickly. "Keep firing. Target their weapons," shouted. The crew worked hard, launching missiles and firing lasers at the alien ship. Explosions lit up the darkness, but the enemy's shields held strong. The human weapons only left small marks on the surface. The alien warship answered with its own attack. Bright energy beams shot out, hitting the human ships. One of the escort ships was hit in the middle. It exploded in a ball of fire, sending pieces flying in all directions. The crew of the Resolute watched in horror as their friends were lost. The battle was not going well. "We can't keep this up," said Commander Ortiz. "Our shields are almost gone." Captain Walker nodded. "We have to buy time for the boarding party. If they can find a weakness, maybe we can win." Inside, the alien warship, the boarding party, was trapped. The doors were locked, and small flying machines attacked them. Sergeant Miller and his team fired their weapons, trying to protect Dr. Lin and the other scientists. The air was filled with smoke and sparks. The team moved deeper into the ship, looking for a way out. Dr. Lin studied the alien symbols on the walls. "These are controls," she said. "If I can understand them, maybe I can shut down the ship's weapons." The team reached a large room with a glowing control panel. Dr. Lin worked quickly, pressing buttons and reading the strange writing. Suddenly, the lights in the room changed color. The ship shook, and the flying machines stopped attacking. "I think I did something," Dr. Lin said, "but I don't know what." Back outside, the Resolute saw a change. The alien warship's weapons stopped firing for a moment. Captain Walker saw his chance. "All ships, focus fire on their engines," he ordered. The human ships fired everything they had. Missiles and lasers hit the back of the alien ship. For the first time, the enemy's shields flickered. A small explosion burst from the alien ship's engines. The crew of the Resolute cheered, but the victory was short. The alien warship powered up again. Its weapons glowed brighter than before. It fired a new kind of bomb, bigger and faster. The bomb hit another human ship, destroying it in a huge explosion. The shockwave hit the Resolute, shaking everyone inside. "We're losing ships too." "Fast," said the chief engineer. "We can't take much more." Captain Walker looked at the screen. The alien warship was still strong. Its shields were coming back. The human fleet was down to only 2 ships. The situation was desperate. Inside, the alien ship, Dr. Lin, kept working. She found a new set of controls. "This looks like a self-destruct system," she said. "If I can start it, maybe we can destroy the ship." Sergeant Miller shook his head. "We need to get out first. We can't die here." The team searched for an exit. They found a small door that led to a hangar. Inside, they saw a strange alien. "Drones ready for battle." The team moved quietly, trying not to wake the machines. Suddenly, the drones powered up. Their eyes glowed red and they started to move. The team ran, shooting at the drones. Hangar filled with noise and light. The team barely made it to their shuttle. Sergeant Miller started the engines, and the shuttle blasted out of the hangar, dodging enemy fire. Back in space, the Resolute was almost out of power. The shields were gone, and the engines were failing. Captain Walker saw the boarding party's shuttle flying toward them. "Open the bay doors." He ordered. The shuttle landed inside the Resolute. Dr. Lin ran to the bridge. "I found a way to destroy the ship," she said. "But we have to get far away first." Captain Walker nodded. "All ships, retreat," he shouted. The Resolute and the last escort ship turned and sped away from the alien warship. Dr. Lin sent a signal to the enemy ship, starting the self-destruct countdown. The alien warship began to shake. Its lights flashed, and small explosions appeared on its surface. But just as the humans thought they were safe, the alien warship opened its hull. A swarm of small attack drones poured out, chasing the human ships. The drones fired energy beams, hitting the last escort ship. It exploded, leaving only the Resolute. "We can't outrun them," shouted the pilot. Captain Walker made a hard choice. "Prepare to fire our last missiles. Aim for the drones." The Resolute fired its last weapons. Missiles flew through space, hitting the drones. Some drones exploded, but many kept coming. The Resolute shook as the drones attacked, but the ship kept moving. Finally, the alien warship exploded in a huge fireball. The shockwave hit the drones, destroying most of them. The Resolute was damaged, but it survived. The crew cheered, but they knew the danger was not over. The battle was won, but at a great cost. Most of the fleet was gone. The Resolute was badly damaged. The crew was tired and scared. But they had learned something important. The alien warship was not alone. There could be more out there, waiting to attack. Captain Walker looked at the stars. "We survived today," he said. "But the real war may be just beginning." The crew nodded, knowing their fight was not over. The mystery of the alien warship was still unsolved. The future was uncertain, and the stakes were higher than ever. The Resolute floated in space, damaged and quiet. The crew was tired and sad. They had lost many friends in the battle. The alien warship was gone, destroyed in a huge explosion. But the danger was not over. The crew watched their screens. Afraid that more enemies might appear, Dr. Lin sat at her computer, looking at the data she had taken from the alien ship. She saw strange symbols and pictures of other ships, even bigger than the one they had just fought. "Captain Walker," she said, "I think there are more warships like this one, maybe many more." Captain Walker felt a cold fear in his heart. "We need to warn Earth," he said. "If there are more of these ships, we are all in danger." Suddenly, alarms rang out on the bridge. The sensors showed new ships coming out of the darkness. These ships were not human. They were smaller than the first warship, but there were many of them. Their shapes were strange, with sharp wings and glowing lights. The crew watched in silence as the alien fleet moved closer. The new alien ships did not attack right away. They circled the Resolute, watching it. Captain Walker tried to send a message. "This is Captain Walker of the United Earth Command. We do not want to fight. Please respond." There was no answer. Alien ships moved closer, their weapons ready. The crew of the Resolute prepared for another battle. Had little power left, and their weapons were almost gone. Still, they would not give up. Suddenly, the alien ships fired. Bright beams of energy shot across space, hitting the Resolute. The ship shook, and sparks flew from the control panels. "Shields are down," shouted the chief engineer. "We can't take much more." Just then, something strange happened. The wreckage of the first alien warship began to move. Pieces of metal floated together, pulled by an invisible force. The crew watched in shock as the broken ship started to rebuild itself. It was like the ship was alive. The new alien fleet saw this too. They turned their weapons on the wreckage, firing again and again. Explosions lit up the darkness, but the pieces kept coming together. Dr. Lin stared at her screen. "It's a self-repair system," she said. "The ship is trying to fix itself." The Resolute was caught in the middle of the battle. Alien ships fired at the wreckage, and some of their shots hit the human ship by mistake. The crew ducked as the ship shook and alarms blared. Captain Walker knew they could not survive much longer. Inside the alien warship, the self-repair system worked faster. The ship's core began to glow with a strange blue light. Dr. Lin looked at her data and gasped. "Captain, the ship is charging its main weapon. If it fires, it could destroy everything in this area, including us." Captain Walker made a quick decision. "We have to stop it. Dr. Lin, can you shut it down?" Dr. Lin nodded. "I need to get back inside the ship. I think I can use the codes I found to stop the weapon." Sergeant Miller and his team got ready. They put on their armor and grabbed their weapons. The shuttle was damaged, but it could still fly. The team left the Resolute and headed for the alien warship, dodging enemy fire. The shuttle landed on the broken hull. The team moved quickly, entering the ship through a hole made by the explosion. Inside, the ship was dark and full of smoke. The walls glowed with blue light and the air was hot. Dr. Lin led the way, using her computer to find the control room. The team fought off small alien drones, shooting them as they moved deeper into the ship. Finally, they reached the core. It was a huge room filled with strange machines and a bright blue energy ball in the center. Dr. Lin ran to the control panel. She typed in the codes she had found. The machines made strange noises, and the blue light grew brighter. "It's not working," she shouted. "The system is locked." Sergeant Miller fired at the machines, trying to break them. The room shook, and sparks flew everywhere. The blue energy ball grew larger, and the air felt electric. Dr. Lin tried. Again, her hands shaking. This time, the panel beeped, and the lights changed color. "It's working," she cried. "The weapon is shutting down." Outside, the alien fleet saw the change. The blue light faded, and the warship stopped moving. The alien ship stopped firing and pulled back, watching the human shuttle escape from the wreckage. The shuttle raced back to the Resolute. The crew cheered as their friends returned. Dr. Lin hugged Captain Walker, tears in her eyes. "We did it. We stopped the weapon." But the danger was not over. The alien fleet was still there, and the Resolute was badly damaged. Captain Walker sent a message to Earth. "This is Captain Walker. We have stopped the alien warship, but there are more out here. We need help." The alien ships watched the humans for a moment, then turned and disappeared into the darkness. The crew of the Resolute breathed a sigh of relief, but they knew this was only the beginning. Dr. Lin looked at her data one last time. "There are more ships like this one," she said quietly. "We have to be ready." Captain Walker nodded. "We will be. We have to protect Earth, no matter what." The Resolute turned for home, moving slowly through the stars. The crew was tired, but they were also proud. They had faced the unknown and survived. But as they left the battlefield behind, they knew the real war was still to come. The Resolute moved slowly through space, heading back toward Earth. The ship was damaged, and the crew was tired. But they were also hopeful. They had stopped the alien warship's weapon and survived a terrible battle. Still, everyone knew the danger was not over. Dr. Lin's words echoed in their minds. There were more warships out there, waiting in the darkness. As the Resolute traveled, the crew worked hard to repair the ship. Sparks flew as engineers fixed broken wires and patched holes in the hull. The medical team cared for the wounded. Captain Walker walked through the ship, talking to his crew and giving them hope. "We did something amazing," he said. We stopped a great threat, but we must stay strong. We must be ready for anything. Suddenly the alarm sounded again. The sensors showed new ships coming out of the darkness. These ships were even bigger than before. Their shapes were strange and their lights glowed red. The crew stared at the screens in fear. The enemy had returned, and this time they were not alone. The alien fleet surrounded the Resolute. There were dozens of ships, all armed and ready for war. Captain Walker knew they could not win a fight. The Resolute was too damaged, and their weapons were almost gone. He called his officers to the bridge. "We have to find another way," he said. "We cannot fight them head on." Dr. Lin had an idea. "The codes I found in the first warship might work on these ships too," she said. "If we can get close enough, I can try to shut down their systems." Sergeant Miller and his team got ready again. They knew it was dangerous, but they were brave. The shuttle was repaired just enough to fly. The team left the Resolute and headed toward the biggest alien ship. The rest of the crew watched in silence, hoping for a miracle. As the shuttle approached the alien ship, enemy drones attacked. The shuttle shook as energy beams hit its sides. Sergeant Miller fired back, trying to protect Dr. Lin. The shuttle dodged and weaved. Finally landing on the alien ship's hull, the team moved quickly, entering the ship through a small opening. Inside, the ship was dark and full of strange sounds. The walls pulsed with red light. Dr. Lin led the way, her computer ready. The team fought off more drones, moving deeper into the ship. They reached the control room. It was huge. With screens showing the other alien ships and the Resolute in the middle, Dr. Lin ran to the main panel and started typing. The alien symbols flashed on the screen. "I need more time," she shouted. Back on the Resolute, the alien fleet began to attack. Energy beams hit the ship, shaking it hard. The shields were almost gone. The crew worked together, putting out fires and helping the wounded. Captain Walker stayed calm, giving orders and keeping hope alive. Inside the alien ship, Dr. Lin, finally, found the right code. She pressed the button, and the lights in the control room changed from red to blue. The alien ship stopped moving. On the screens, the other alien ships also slowed down. Their weapons powered down, and the attack stopped. "We did it," Dr. Lin cried. The team cheered, but they knew they had to get out fast. The alien ship began to shake, and alarms blared. The self-destruct system had started. Sergeant Miller led the team back to the shuttle. They raced through the halls, dodging explosions and falling debris. The shuttle blasted off the alien ship just as it exploded in a huge fireball. The shockwave pushed the shuttle toward the Resolute. The crew cheered as the shuttle landed safely inside the ship, but the battle was not over. The other alien ships were waking up again. Their lights turned red, and their weapons powered up. Captain Walker knew they had only one chance. "Aim all weapons at the enemy fleet," he ordered. "We will fight to the end." The Resolute fired its last missiles and lasers. The alien ships fired back. Space was filled with explosions and fire. The crew fought bravely, never giving up. Dr. Lin sent the shutdown code again, hoping it would work. Some of the alien ships powered down, but others kept fighting. Suddenly a new ship appeared. It was even bigger than the others, and its hull was covered in strange symbols. The crew watched in fear as the new ship moved closer. It fired a massive energy beam at the alien fleet, destroying several ships in one shot. The crew realized this new ship was not an enemy, was fighting the other aliens. The new ship sent a message. The voice was strange but clear. "We are not your enemy. We have come to stop the warships. Leave this place, and you will be safe." Captain Walker answered, "Thank you. We will leave at once." The new ship fought the alien fleet, giving the Resolute time to escape. The crew watched as the two alien forces battled in the darkness. The Resolute turned and sped away, heading for Earth. As they left, Dr. Lin looked at her computer. "There are still more warships out there," she said. "But now we know we are not alone. There are others who will help us." Captain Walker nodded. "We must warn Earth and prepare for the future. The war is not over, but we have hope." The Resolute moved through space, battered but alive. The crew was tired, but they were proud. They had faced the unknown and survived. They had learned that even in the darkest times, there was always hope. Back on Earth, people listened to the Resolute S message. They knew the universe was full of danger, but also full of mystery and new friends. The story of the unstoppable space warship was just the beginning. Humanity would be ready for whatever came next, and far out in the stars, the warships waited, silent and hidden. But now, Earth was watching. The final stand had ended, but a new chapter was about to begin.